To really understand what it is that we just heard in our gospel reading, we need to understand what came just a little bit before this. So before this passage, Jesus has just talked about how he will die. And, of course, Peter has told him, shush, you can't talk about those sort of things. And Jesus has delivered that famous line, "Get behind me, Satan." So it's in this context of just having talked about his death that Jesus, to the crowd and to the disciples, tells them to take up their cross and follow me. Jesus talking about the cross is very important. It's very much on his mind. And this isn't to say that what Jesus is calling us to is to follow him in death, but rather what Jesus is calling us to in taking up our cross and following him is to look at the meaning behind the cross. The crucifixion for Jesus, this is the ultimate act of love. Jesus chose to die on the cross because it was the way to save us. Jesus dies on the cross out of love, out of compassion for each and every one of us. So when Jesus is calling us to take our cross up and follow him, Jesus is in fact saying, as he's calling us to have that very same love that he showed for us, that love that is willing to die even, if that's what's needed, the love that's willing to lay aside our own lives for those of others. And in doing so, we're called to set aside all things that might prevent us from showing that love. Even, as Jesus makes clear in Mark, if that very thing is ourselves. And so this actually calls us to do what we talked about this very Sunday. Called to make a choice. Is our choice to follow Jesus? To follow in that path of that self-giving love, that life-giving love that he had for us? Or do we choose something